Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're digging into the sources on a really fascinating figure in media, a guy whose journey is, well, pretty unique.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about Byron Allen.
Exactly. Byron Allen,
Yeah.
businessman, producer, comedian, the list goes on. But what's really striking is that huge shift, from stand-up comic to leading this massive media conglomerate.
It really is almost like two different careers fused into one. He starts as Byron Allen, folks, born 61, hitting the comedy clubs. But then, somewhere along the line, he pivots hard into becoming an owner,
Yeah.
an infrastructure guy.
And that's Allen Media Group, or AMG, used to be entertainment studios. And it's not just one thing, is it? It's a television production, broadcasting, film distribution, digital stuff. It's spread out.
Hugely diverse portfolio. And the scale is just immense. I mean, our sources are saying that back in, late 2022, the company was valued north of $4.5 billion.
$4.5 billion. So yeah, our mission today really is to unpack how that happens. How does a kid doing stand-up at, 14 years old build an empire that big enough to be throwing around $14 billion bids for giants like Paramount, and even taking on huge corporations in court?
It's a heck of a story, and I think, you really have to go back to the beginning. His foundation wasn't just watching TV, it was practically living inside it. Which takes us right into Section 2, the Comedy Foundation.
Right, okay. So born in Detroit, but the key move seems to be in '68, right? Moves to L.A. with his mom, Carolyn folks, after her divorce.
Exactly. And this isn't just moving to L.A., it's where in L.A. and what his mom did. She got a job as a publicist at NBC Studios in Burbank.
Wow. Okay. So he's basically growing up on the lot.
Pretty much. Imagine that. You're a kid, you're wandering around NBC, you're not just seeing the shows on TV, you're seeing the cameras, the sets, the meetings, the whole machinery. He got this behind-the-scenes masterclass in how TV actually gets made and sold, way before most people even think about that stuff.
That must have been an incredible advantage. And it seems like it sparked something pretty early. He starts doing stand-up routines at 14 while still in school.
Yeah, hitting the amateur nights in LA clubs, balancing it with Fairfax High, and later USC. He was clearly driven from a young age.
And then comes this connection with Jimmy Walker. That sounds like a big break.
Huge break. Walker, from Good Times, sees his act and invites this 14-year-old kid to join his comedy writing team.
A 14-year-old on a professional writing team. That's wild.
It gets wilder. Guess who else was on that writing team? Jay Leno and David Letterman.
No way! Seriously, Leno and Letterman.
Seriously, so imagine being 14, 15 years old, and you're in a writer's room with those guys, plus Jimmy Walker. You're not just learning jokes, you're learning structure, timing, what hits an audience, how to churn out material. It's like comedy grad school before you even finish high school.
That's more than just joke writing. That's learning the business of content creation from the absolute ground up, with future legends.
Exactly. He's learning the architecture of it. The production pace, the need for quality, the audience, skills that are going to be crucial later when he starts his own production company. You learn fast in that kind of environment.
And all that leads to The Tonight Show.
Right, 1979. He's only 18. Makes his debut on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, youngest comedian ever to do that set.
An incredible milestone for any comedian. Just huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But here's what's really telling about Allen's mindset, even back then. The sources say he didn't just see it as, hey, I'm performing on Carson. He saw it as a chance to learn. He specifically used that appearance to get deeper inside, understand the industry mechanics better, like a strategic reconnaissance mission.
Always thinking beyond the performance itself.
Always. And NBC clearly saw that potential too. Right after Carson, they cast him as a reporter on Real People, his first regular network gig.
So he's building this really diverse resume early on.
Totally.
Yeah.
He does Real People. He co-writes and co-stars in a CBS movie, Case Closed, in '88. He hosts his own syndicated show, The Byron Allen Show, '89 to '92. Plus, he's touring, opening for huge music acts, Dolly Parton, Gladys Knight, Lionel Richie.
Wow. That touring experience must have taught him a lot about logistics, different markets.
Oh, for sure. Packaging content, dealing with venues, understanding audiences across the country. It gave him this complete, 360 view of how entertainment works, from creation to delivery.
Okay, so he has this incredibly well-rounded foundation in performance, writing, hosting, even the logistics of touring. He understands the whole ecosystem.
Precisely. And I think that perspective showed him where the real power lies. Not just in being the talent, but in owning the stage, owning the distribution.
Yeah.
Which leads us right into Section 3, the business blueprint, the pivot.
The big pivot. In 1993, he sets up CF Entertainment.
Yep. And the goal was really specific. produce nonfiction TV, but do it incredibly cheap. He knew he couldn't compete on budget with the big networks, so he had to find a different way.
And that first show, Entertainers with Byron Allen, that kind of set the template, didn't it? How did he manage celebrity interviews without a huge budget?
This is where the scrappy genius comes in. He looked at how the system already worked. Film studios spend fortunes setting up press junkets in hotels for their big movie releases. Right?
Yeah, they fly in journalists, set up rooms with cameras, lighting.
Exactly. Allen's idea was simple. Why build my own studio when they've already built one for me? He'd just show up at these junkets and film his interviews using the equipment the movie distributors had already set up for everyone else.
Wait, seriously? He just used their stuff?
Pretty much. He piggybacked on their infrastructure. No need to pay for fancy cameras, lighting rigs, sound gear, travel for crews. He massively slashed his production costs by leveraging what was already there. It was about access, not ownership at that stage.
That is incredibly resourceful. Okay, so that solves the production cost. But getting it on air is the other half of the battle, maybe the harder half. How did he crack distribution?
Now this. This is the absolute core of the Allen Media Group empire, the bartered distribution model.
Barter. Okay, explain that.
Well, think about it. He doesn't have the cash to pay TV stations to air his show. That's how syndication usually worked. You pay a license fee. He couldn't afford that.
So what did he do instead?
He went to the local stations and said, here's my show, Entertainers with Byron Allen. Professionally produced, celebrity interviews. You can have it for free.
For free? Why would a station give away airtime for free? What's the catch?
No cash cost for the station. They get free programming to fill their schedule, which saves them money. The catch, or rather the deal, was in the advertising time.
Okay. So how did the ad time work?
Instead of cash, Allen kept a portion of the advertising slots within his show, maybe, say, 3 or 4 minutes out of every half hour. The local station kept the rest of the ad time in that slot to sell locally.
So the station gets free content and keeps some ad time to sell to local businesses.
Right. And Allen gets something much more valuable in aggregate. He's not selling ads on one local station. He's collecting those 3 or 4 minutes from hundreds of stations all across the country.
I see. He bundles it.
Exactly. He bundles all those little bits of ad time into a national advertising package. Then he goes to the big guys, the Cokes, the Procter & Gamble's, the car companies, and says, want to reach millions of viewers across the entire U.S., buy this package. He created a national network's worth of ad inventory without owning a single network, bypassing the traditional gatekeepers entirely.
Wow. That's brilliant. Turning free content into national ad revenue.
It's the engine. But, it sounds smooth now looking back. The sources are really clear that it was incredibly tough going at the start. This wasn't an instant hit.
Yeah, I can imagine. Building up that network of stations, convincing national advertisers, that takes time.
A lot of time and effort. And the financial strain was immense. Sources talk about his house facing foreclosure multiple times. And get this, at one point, things were so tight, he lost his phone service.
No phone? How do you run a national TV business without a phone?
Apparently, he had to use a payphone. Conducting business, negotiating deals, pitching stations, from a payphone outside his office.
That's insane. A payphone. That just paints such a picture of the struggle and the sheer determination involved.
Absolutely. It really underscores how much grit it took to make that innovative model actually work. But it did work. Eventually.
And that persistence paid off. By 2003, CF Entertainment becomes Entertainment Studios. Sounds like things were stabilizing.
Yeah, the model was proven. The revenue streams were flowing. And by 2012, they were confident enough to start branching out beyond just nonfiction. They launched scripted sitcoms, like The First Family and Mr. Box Office.
Showing the production and distribution engine he built was flexible enough for different kinds of content?
Right. He'd built the machine. Now it was time to feed it more and then start buying other machines. Which takes us right into Section 4. Scaling the empire, the acquisition phase.
Okay, so the barter model is generating serious cash flow. Now he starts buying. What was the strategy here?
It seems like it was about owning more of the pipeline, moving from just creating content and selling ads around it to owning the distribution channels themselves. Infrastructure.
Makes sense. What were the key acquisitions?
Well, a big early one was in 2015, they bought Freestyle Releasing, an independent film distributor.
So getting into movies, vertical integration.
Textbook move. Now they could potentially produce a movie, market it using their existing TV reach, and distribute it to theaters themselves. Control more of the process, keep more of the revenue.
Smart. Then what came next?
2016, They acquired Vigrio.
Thigrio, the digital news platform focused on African American audiences.
Exactly. That was a strategic play on two fronts, really. One, it gave them a significant foothold in digital media, which was obviously exploding. Two, it gave them a powerful platform connecting with a specific valuable demographic, very attractive for advertisers.
Okay, digital presence, targeted audience, makes sense. But then came the really big one, right? 2018.
Oh yeah, the game changer, acquiring the Weather Channel.
The actual Weather Channel TV network and the whole parent company, the Weather Group, for $300 million. That felt huge.
It was huge and strategically just
Yeah.
brilliant. Think about it. Entertainment is hit or miss, trends change, but weather,
Weather is essential. Everyone needs it.
always. It's like a utility. The Weather Channel brought in steady, reliable income from carriage fees the money cable and satellite companies pay to carry the channel. That provides a stable financial base that's much less volatile than entertainment programming.
Plus, the digital side must be massive too, right? Weather.com.
Absolutely enormous. Huge daily traffic to the website and apps. That meant vast digital advertising inventory and valuable data. Buying the Weather Channel wasn't just buying a TV network, it was buying a massive piece of essential national information infrastructure, both on TV and online. It really cemented AMG as a major player.
So, film distribution, digital news, a major cable network utility.
Yeah.
What else?
He didn't stop there. He started buying actual broadcast TV stations in various markets, owning the physical license, the spectrum. That gives you ultimate control in those local areas,
Owning the towers, basically.
pretty much. And alongside that, he got involved in sports. He secured a big equity stake when Sinclair Broadcast Group bought the Fox Sports networks. That put AMG right into the middle of the very lucrative, very high-stakes world of regional sports broadcasting.
Okay, let's piece this together. He's got production studios, a film distributor, digital news, a national cable staple like the Weather Channel, local TV stations, a piece of regional sports networks.
It's a fully integrated media machine. Content creation, multiple distribution platforms spanning theatrical, cable, broadcast, and digital, all underpinned by that initial barter syndication engine that kept generating cash to fund the expansion.
No wonder the sources pegged the company valuation at over $4.5 billion by late 2022. You can see how all those pieces fit together to create that kind of value.
And once you have that kind of scale, that kind of financial clout, well, your ambitions tend to get bigger. Which brings us neatly to Section 5, high-stakes bids and personal scale.
Yeah, that $4.5 billion valuation wasn't the end game, was it? It seemed more like a starting point for some really bold moves, like trying to buy an NFL team in 2022.
Right, the Denver Broncos. He put in a serious bid. Now, ultimately, he didn't win the team, went for a record $4.65 billion to the Walton Group. But just being a credible bidder at that level, that sent a message about the kind of financial league Allen was now playing in. Owning an NFL team is, like, the ultimate billionaire status symbol and business asset in the U.S.
And he wasn't just looking at sports. He went back to media acquisitions, targeting Paramount.
He did. In 2023, there was that reported bid around $3 billion for Bet Media Group, which Paramount owned. That didn't go through.
But he didn't give up on Paramount.
Not at all. Just a few months later, early 2024, Allen Media Group drops this bombshell, a reported offer of $14.3 billion to buy all of Paramount Global.
$14.3 billion for the whole thing. I mean, just think about that trajectory again. The guy running deals from a payphone in the 90s is now making offers of that magnitude for a legacy Hollywood giant.
It's honestly staggering. The speed of that ascent, the scale of the ambition, it shows the power of the business model he built. He went from being an outsider, finding cracks in the system, to someone trying to buy the entire system.
And the industry and business world have definitely taken notice, right? He's collected some significant awards.
Oh, yeah. Bloomberg 50 in 2018, Goldman Sachs Builders and Innovators Summit honoree same year. The Brandon Tartikoff Legacy Award in 2019. That's a big one in TV.
And recognition for his impact on diversity in media, too.
Definitely. In 2023, he received the first ever legendary honor from the African American Student Union at Harvard Business School. That speaks volumes about his influence, not just financially, but in terms of representation and ownership in the industry.
On the personal side, the sources mention his family married TV producer Jennifer Lucas in 2007, 3 kids, and some pretty impressive real estate.
Yeah, the success translates into, well, a very comfortable lifestyle, residences in Aspen, Maui, LA, New York, the kind of portfolio you'd expect at that level.
And that Malibu mansion purchase in 2022 really made headlines.
It did. A reported $100 million for a property previously owned by Tamara Gustafson. The sources highlighted it as the most expensive home ever purchased by an African American in the U.S. at the time. It's a very tangible symbol of the sheer scale of wealth generated by AMG.
But it's not just about building the empire and living large. He's also used his position to push for change, particularly around advertising and equity. Which leads us to Section 6, the lawsuit for equity.
Right. This was a big one. In 2021, Allen Media Group filed a $10 billion lawsuit against McDonald's.
$10 billion against McDonald's. What was the core issue?
The lawsuit alleged racial discrimination in how McDonald's allocated its advertising budget, specifically how it dealt with Black-owned media companies like Allen's.
Okay, discrimination in ad spending. How did they claim that worked?
The suit alleged that McDonald's essentially operated a two-tiered system for its ad buys. There was the general market tier, where the vast majority of the ad dollars went, hundreds of millions, for reaching broad audiences on major networks.
Okay.
And then the suit claimed there was a separate, distinct African-American tier. This tier was allegedly designated for media outlets specifically targeting Black audiences.
And the problem was the funding for that tier.
Exactly. The lawsuit alleged that this African-American tier was given a tiny fraction of the overall budget, maybe only $5 million or $10 million total, for all Black-owned media to fight over. It created this separate, much smaller pool of money, regardless of the actual audience size or reach these Black-owned platforms delivered.
So the argument was that Black-owned media was structurally disadvantaged, kept out of the main, much larger pool of advertising revenue, which limited their ability to grow and compete.
That was the core claim, that this tier system effectively capped the financial potential of Black media owners, preventing them from achieving the scale needed to compete globally, purely because of this alleged budgetary segregation. Allen argued it suppressed the value and growth potential of businesses like his.
That's a really powerful claim about systemic issues in corporate ad spending. It wasn't just about one contract. It was about the whole structure.
Absolutely. It aimed at forcing a systemic change. The lawsuit got a lot of attention, sparked a lot of discussion about diversity in advertising budgets.
And what was the outcome?
The sources state the case was settled out of court in 2025. The specific terms weren't disclosed, which is common. But the fact that Allen, using the leverage of AMG, could bring such a massive lawsuit against a global giant like McDonald's and force a settlement, that really demonstrates the power and influence he now wields.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this incredible journey up. We started with the kid comedian on Carson, using it as a learning op, then the lean years, the payphone negotiations, building that barter system from scratch.
Right, through the strategic acquisitions, Freestyle, The Griot, the game-changing Weather Channel purchase, broadcast stations, sports networks, building this $4.5 billion plus empire.
Leading to audacious bids for NFL teams and Paramount, and that landmark lawsuit against McDonald's.
What stands out, really, is how the whole thing was built on bypassing the traditional gatekeepers. He didn't have the money for the usual way, so he invented a new way, the barter system, giving away content to get ad time he could control nationally.
That initial lack of capital forced the innovation that became the bedrock of everything else.
Precisely. He solved his money problem by creating a more efficient distribution mechanism. And that mechanism generated the cash to eventually buy the traditional infrastructure anyway.
So for you, the listener, maybe the final thought is this. That whole empire, the $14 billion bids, the $10 billion lawsuits, it all traces back to that clever, necessity-driven barter model from the 90s.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Even today, with all the changes in media, how much does that kind of relentless, find another way, infrastructure-focused entrepreneurship still matter? Especially when you're starting from outside the established system.
Owning the pipes is still powerful. Maybe more powerful than ever.
Maybe so. From the payphone to Paramount bids, it's quite a story about how necessity can, quite literally, invent billions.
A fascinating deep dive. Thanks for breaking it all down.
My pleasure.
And thank you for joining us. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.